Hello, Patriots, and welcome back to the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events and modern issues, all while keeping it as real as possible. Today, we're doing another entry into our series on relationships. We're going to be doing a reaction to another Pearl video discussing rising divorce rates and asking if we are doomed to a future of single-parent households. Now, a quick disclaimer, I am a single parent, so we're going to see what the video is all about. We're going to see what Pearl's thoughts are, and we'll provide our own commentary. Let's get the video pulled up and get started. Oh yes, only single parent homes. It is not ideal, folks. I will tell you right now, not ideal.
Have you ever seen The View, Eva? Do you know what The View is?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever actually seen anything on it.
So there's a woman from The View that's named Sunny, and she constantly talks about how racist America is. And the funniest thing happened ever. She found out, because if you look at her, she's a Hispanic woman, and she found out that she descended from slave owners.
That's really embarrassing.
Oh no.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
You can tell that man's over the bullshit. He's just like,
No, because I think what happens to men is they go through life and they realize that if they're too rational, they lose their job.
Yep.
Or like get reprimanded in some way. So they just start going along with it. They're like, all right, ladies.
I completely agree. I got dragged through HR at my current occupation because I was reported for saying some things that somebody perceived as not nice. Now, if you look at most of the people that work where I work, we are mostly military veterans. So as an outsider in a group of military veterans, instead of looking to fit in, somebody decided that they wanted to be offended. So I've had to really watch what I say and what I do when I'm at work because my kids need me to have a job more than I need to just say the things that I feel.
Pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate
own
that.
him?
I don't know. I think they both came from slave, like the same. Like I think they're related.
It would have been really funny if her family owned her husband.
Oh,
And I think it's great for our children to know this information.
why?
I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living.
But that was hundreds of years ago. It does still exist in the world. Don't get me wrong. But the slavery that they're discussing in these videos is the like pre-Civil War, just after Civil War, actual chattel slavery in the United States. Guys, nobody that is alive now was part of that on either side. I don't know why we're so focused on it.
I remember I had to explain to someone once that the majority of white people did not own slaves.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that right now in the world there's more white slaves. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere.
Well, the word slave came from Slavic.
Yeah.
But in the US, it's less than 2% of white people own slaves. You've heard me talk about how American households are changing. So when we were kids, I mean, I would say the majority when I was a kid of people I knew were married. Like all of my friends' parents were married. You're almost...
Yeah, I think I had maybe 2 kids, like elementary school, middle school. Like I remember in my group of friends, like maybe 2 of the people that I associated with were from households where there was divorce. The greater majority of them, yeah, married.
Almost a decade younger than me. Would you say that was true when you were growing up?
I would say yes for the people I knew who had parents in Catholic schools.
Okay.
But not the parents who were genuinely they were slightly religious at least. But like, 'cause I knew some people whose parents just sent them there because they lived in a bad school district.
Hey, like my kids. I send my daughter to a religious school because the public schools near where I work have been in the news for being quite awful. So I don't want my kids anywhere near that kind of ideology. So she goes to a religious school.
And it was not those.
Once I got to high school, because our middle school was really small, and there we had like 2 people in our whole grade that got divorced.
I don't think I think that my middle school, I don't think anybody was.
Once I got to high school, that was when I personally started meeting more people that were divorced or got divorced.
I think I just knew a lot of people who had unhappy marriages in their family rather than divorced. Like I'm trying to think if anybody was actually, I don't think that anybody was actually divorced. I think some of them are now, but...
What's interesting is how different everything's becoming in such a short period of time.
I mean, I really hadn't thought about that. I'm divorced twice. Now, most of the people I know, like it's almost a trope right now. The people that are in more senior positions where I work right now, the greater majority of us are single parents. Like I think all but one is a single dad. I hadn't thought about that because it really hasn't been that long. I graduated what? Yeah, going on 24 years ago. So in that period of time, in less than a quarter of a century, I would say that most of the people that I know have had at least one divorce.
So they are talking about how American households have changed over time. And so this was taken in 2023. 30% of people are married, no kids. 13% of people single, no kids. 17% married parents. 7% single parents. And 16% households with unmarried partners, roommates.
Hold on. Married, no kids, 29%. Single, no kids, 29%. Married parents, 17%. Single parents, 7.4%. And other households with unmarried partners, roommates, or adult relatives, 16%. Yeah, married, no kids, high, 29.4%. Single, no kids, also 29%. So just parents in general, it looks like we're only at 25%. That seems low. It's kind of crazy.
Or adult relatives. So this was, okay, wait. The composition of American households has shifted significantly.
Come on, Pearl, resize your stuff so that people can read it.
Since 1960, as fewer people have kids and the scale of economic resources has declined. Today, the number of households without kids exceeds those with kids, a trend that first emerged in 2014. In addition, single-person households have broadly continued to incline, reaching 30% of the total last year. This figure has more than doubled the past 6 decades.
Actually, thinking about that though, we're always complaining about the cost of living and that there's not enough housing. Think about the fact that the majority of households now are single instead of married. That's like twice as many houses would be necessary. That's a lot. I hadn't even thought about that. That's an interesting way to look at it.
The graphic shows the composition of American households over time, based on data from the Census Bureau. Below, we show the makeup of American households from 1960 at a time of rising costs, record home prices, and low fertility rates. In 1960, the share of U.S. households that contained married parents was 44%, which is
44% to 17.9%. Yikes.
dropped by half in 2023. Most Americans today are delaying or foregoing marriage altogether, with just 20% of women and 23% of men aged 25 being married.
Why do you think that is, guys? We just had a video a couple days ago about why people are getting divorced more, but the culture is pushing us that direction. We're encouraging women to utilize the court system to take resources from men. Men are seeing this. Men are starting to realize that they are putting themselves at extreme risk to get married. So there has to be a really good reason to do it. And I just don't see it. Like I said, I'm twice divorced. It cost me a whole lot of money this last time. Not interested in doing that again. And why would I encourage anyone I know to do the same?
The lowest number on record. Projections indicate that by 2050, 1/3 of Americans aged 45 may remain unmarried. Meanwhile, households consuming of single parents or individuals living alone have doubled over the period, coinciding with the U.S. fertility rate falling to a historic low of 1.6 children per woman in 2023.
1.6 is low, like real low. Was it 2.2, 2.3, I think is just replacement. Like that's not a good sign for our culture long-term, guys.
Well below the 2.1 replacement
2.1
level needed for population stability. Personal preference plays a significant role in changing attitudes towards parenthood. Amongst Americans under 50 without children, almost 60% said they didn't want kids, while 44% preferred to focus on other priorities. Financial concerns also weighed heavily, with 36% citing the cost of raising children.
Now, the interesting thing about that is it just reminds me of the documentary Idiocracy. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but the intro is this exact thing. It's two affluent white people talking about having kids, but saying they can't afford it. And eventually the guy dies and they never have kids. Compared to the poor white family who just keeps having kids and kids and kids and kids and doesn't care about the cost and just kids and kids and kids. And eventually, hundreds of years later, the entire world is populated by idiots. It's an interesting and kind of funny premise for a movie and a great documentary if you ever want to watch it. But yeah, guys, this fear of the economics of it, you figure it out. You don't always have to have the newest, most expensive stuff to have kids. And I think that's where people get trapped in this mentality that I can't afford kids. If you wait until you can afford kids, you may never have them.
3 times the rate amongst childless people over 50. Last year, just 16% of homes in America were considered affordable as mortgage rates more than doubled since 2021. This represents a sharp decline from 2013, where 50% of homes were affordable, a shift that is likely shaping household dynamics as rising costs influence Americans.
Whoa, hang on. Look at that stat. 16% of homes are considered affordable compared to 10 years ago, 50%. So not only are more people single living alone, so then they also can't buy homes. Oh, no wonder they don't think they can afford kids or to get married.
Shift that is likely shaping household dynamics as rising costs influence Americans' future choices. So what's interesting is I don't know, because again, you're a decade younger than me almost, so it's a little different. But when I was growing up, we were one of 6. But it wasn't abnormal for me to meet families that had 3 or 4. I'd say over 4 would be pretty, like 4 was a lot, but like 2 to 3 was normal maybe.
Yeah.
And then 4 was not abnormal. Like I could think of a decent amount of families that had 4. But it's interesting because if right now only 20% or it's even less, 17% are married parents, we can assume that half of those will fail because half have failed in the past. That's the future.
Yeah.
So
Divorce rate, yes.
So if like once we have kids, what's interesting is all of our kids' friends will be single children, basically.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
I think that especially right now, I've noticed a lot more. You don't see many families with more than like even at daycares, like they have 2 kids. The only family that I know that has more than 2 kids is because they had twins.
Yeah. And I bet the mom was older. I bet it was IVF.
It actually was not.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you have first, guys, she works at a daycare and she's worked at a daycare for a while. So you can see the kids firsthand.
Yeah.
And so you'd say that's true. It's mostly.
I'd say for the most part, if they have more than 3 kids, it's either they had twins accidentally trying for their second kid, or it's because they wanted the other gender.
So out of every 10.
That's another reason. If you keep trying to have a boy or keep trying to have a girl and you just keep failing at it, she's talking about, you'll just keep having kids trying. Oh, hopefully you get it.
Kids that come in, how many are only children?
It depends on where you're looking at. In Illinois, I would say probably 5 or 6 out of 10 would be only children. But in Colorado, I'd say it's a higher number. I'd say 7 or 8.
Really?
Because most of those parents aren't married. They, I'm guessing, just had a child. A lot of them are divorced. A lot of them aren't together. A lot of them are just single moms.
Really? Because the one thing is when you look at data, because they want men to keep getting married, even though the system is really bad for them.
Yes.
So they will always hide statistics that make marriage look bad.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, guys, don't worry about the legal system and child support and alimony.
Okay, guys, you should absolutely worry about the legal system and how alimony is going to treat you and how asset distribution is going to treat you. You should absolutely worry about those things. I would encourage anybody going into a marriage at this point to have a prenup, and that thing needs to be like reviewed and bulletproof.
Sign up. Don't just forget about that. No, it'll totally work out. So what percent?
Statistically, that is incorrect. It will not work out statistically. I'm not saying there aren't outliers. There aren't people that have successful long-term marriages. There are. My parents are a good example. They are still together. But modern relationships now with people our age and younger, the numbers are not on your side.
What percent of kids would you say in the daycare are from married parents versus in relationships versus single?
In Illinois, I would say the majority of the parents are married, but we're also not as close to Chicago and all the whatever people. I'd say in Colorado, which is really close to Denver, I would say probably, I don't know, 1/4 of the parents are married.
A quarter, really.
Yeah.
Because the way it starts is the cities start with the trends. And then, you know what else I'm curious? Do you know any women that have done sugar dating or any sort of OnlyFans? Like personally, not through like me or my show or any of that.
No, but I don't really.
Yeah. I was thinking, I don't think it's hit the suburbs yet. But the weird thing is once you get into a city, it's like crazy how many there are.
I've heard people on campus talking about it, so I'm sure people on campus do it, but
Yeah.
I don't personally know anybody that does.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting.
Guys, you got to vet your partners nowadays. You have no idea what their history is. You have no idea what's floating around the internet about them. The last thing you want is the embarrassment a year, 2 years, 5 years into the relationship when somebody pulls up on their phone something out of your partner's history. It's just an embarrassment. You don't want it. If you know they have a history, it's usually best just to avoid it.
So you would attribute Illinois being more married because we're further from the city.
And because we're just like, in general, like I know we're still a blue state, but where we are, it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty conservative.
Yeah, like it's only really conservative in the city, or it's only Democrat in the cities, really.
And what ages were the kids? Like the kids at the daycare?
You see that a lot in the Midwest, by the way. The cities go progressive and the rest of the state. I saw that when I lived in Nebraska for 5 years. Completely red state, 2 blue dots, Lincoln and Omaha. That's it.
They go from 6 weeks to 6 years.
Okay, so and because the other thing is, if it's under 6, if they get divorced, I'm guessing it would be when the kid's like 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what had happening at remember that family I told you about when we were in Amsterdam and you guessed the dad's
Oh,
job?
yeah.
They're getting divorced right now. And their youngest just turned 4.
Yeah, that's usually
Or no,
because
3.
Yeah, I think so. That would have been my son would have just turned 3. Yeah. Yep. You get past that whole like infant nurturing phase and then just the brain switches and it's all she wrote.
yeah, that's the first round of divorces. The second round, I think it's either when the kids become teenagers or they get out of the house.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, the other question I had. So you want to be a housewife?
I do very badly.
And
I have a couple of recommendations for you that I won't say on YouTube.
how many women your age would you say out of your friend group? Is there anyone else that wants to be a housewife?
Yeah, but I also have a very conservative friend group.
Okay.
I think the people on campus that I've told about my hopes and desires, my dreams, really, really look down upon me.
So you're at college, that's where you've kind of heard of people doing OnlyFans, or you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course they do on college. People are pursuing higher education and careers. Of course they're going to look down at you. It's stupid, but that makes sense just based on the environment.
That's where people kind of laugh at you for wanting to be a housewife.
Yeah, somebody the other day, I was telling them I don't think Ballerina Farm is oppressed. I think that she's actually very happy and she's living the life she wants. And they said, you're crazy. And I was like, she's living in a multi-acre property with a multi-millionaire, with her multiple kids, with her own business and a loving husband. I'm like, what are you talking
what more
about?
does she want?
Like, what else? Like, they grow everything themselves.
That sounds amazing.
They have the animal. I'm like, what? So oppressed.
Yeah, they're like, oh, but she could have been a ballerina. I mean, I don't know.
She was a ballerina too. She danced through her first like 2 kids.
Oh, really?
Oof.
Yeah, like there's videos of her dancing at Juilliard pregnant.
No way.
So it's like, I don't know why people are saying he forced her out of that life.
I mean, I do think the farm was his idea, but I mean, she opts in.
Yeah,
She
I'm
said,
like,
sounds fun.
yeah, and she still dances, maybe not professionally, but
Yeah, they're so crazy.
I'll take your word for it, but I'm not going to disagree with you.
no, that woman's my dream life. She's like,
Yeah.
us and our 8 kids, I'm cooking them sourdough bread tonight. I'm like, oh, invite me over.
I know. You know how to make sourdough, don't you?
I've been learning. I tried to make a starter and I failed miserably, so I bought one. I bought a dehydrated starter, but I haven't actually started it yet because I've been gone.
The breads, I have not done really well. I kind of,
I've been getting into the breads for Adam recently.
I don't know. You see, I don't know. Maybe you are quicker at it, but I did it a couple times and I just felt like it takes so long to knead the bread.
Well,
And
also
I
you can
did-
use a KitchenAid to knead it for you. I mean, I prefer kneading it by hand because I feel like you can get a better feel of it, but
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah, get a KitchenAid with a bread hook.
The
like you can
KitchenAid.
at least start it with the KitchenAid.
I didn't have one at the time. I do now, though.
I love my KitchenAid. I love it so much.
I don't use it too much because I'm usually just cooking for like 4 people at most. So I don't know.
I'm just cooking for Adam, and he's 4 people in himself.
Yeah, he
so.
is. He is. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like the video on your way out and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell, and please go to the audacitynetwork.com.
Yeah, guys. Just going by the numbers, it really does seem like we're kind of doomed to this trajectory of increasing divorces, increasing single parent households. But you know what? I think in the end, we're just going to have fewer kids, or there's going to be a whole lot of single baby mamas running around for a very few select group of men. Because right now, the trend is women are targeting the highest class of people because that's who they can find on dating apps. That's who they can get to sleep with them. And then they have kids with these people, but they're not long-term relationships. So you have a lot of single parent households that are being created by sports stars, by rappers, by very successful people, because that is who you get the most attention to be around. That's where you get the most clout or social credit for hanging out with. You can see Homath and his channel. Women are just not pursuing men that are at their level. They're shooting higher. And that's fine. You can do that, but don't be surprised when you get the outcome you're going to get. And as men, we should just work hard at being the best man that we can be. We should be exercising. We should be going and finding our money. We should be going and building a close group of male friends. It just makes the most sense to me. Don't worry about the women. The women will come later. Just go build what you're going to build. Focus on that. Don't focus on chasing women. Trust me, it will take you off your course and it will end up costing you a whole lot of money on the back end. Thank you to those of you that made it to the end of this video. I greatly appreciate your support. If you're looking to support the channel, you can check the links down in the description below. You can take advantage of our ongoing offers as well as use our promotion code when you go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and purchase some coffee there. They offer both teas and coffees at Coffee Brand Coffee. Go ahead and check them out. Use our promotion code when checking out to help the channel. If you're looking for a free way to support the channel, please like the video, share the video with friends and family, leave a comment on the video, or subscribe to the channel. Doing any of these 4 things helps out with the algorithm. The more you help out with the algorithm, the more this video gets seen, and the more the video gets seen, the more content I can provide for you in the future. If you have an idea for a topic or a song that you want to see a reaction to on the channel, please leave it in a comment below and I will get to it as soon as I can. I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care and God bless. Go ahead and check out one of the links on the screen now to either subscribe to the channel and see the rest of the videos of the channel, or one of the carefully selected videos that you may wish to see that YouTube has used its algorithm to select for you.